On October 7th, Hamas terrorists viciously attacked southern Israel, killing about 1,200 people and kidnapping over 250. It was the worst terror attack in this nation's history. Regular life in Israel ground to a halt as the true scale of destruction and loss was revealed, and the long road to safety and healing ahead became clear. The students, faculty, and community members here at Ben-Gurion University of the Negev were particularly affected. Thousands of student reservists left their studies to defend their country. Medical students became emergency responders, while undergraduates packed supplies for soldiers called up to the front lines. 111 members of this community were murdered. Thousands were displaced from their homes. 4 were kidnapped, and their whereabouts are still unknown. My name is Natasha Kirchuk. I'm an anchor and a journalist for I-24 News. And today I'm speaking to you from Ben-Gurion University of the Negev's beautiful Beersheba campus. On October 7th, I wasn't in the newsroom. I wasn't out on a story. I was at home on maternity leave with my 2-month-old baby girl. Now, like most journalists, I'm still glued to the news even when I'm not working. And when I woke up to feed my baby at 6:30 in the morning, I also woke up to a flood of harrowing videos being sent to me from various sources. Within just hours, my husband, a Ben-Gurion University graduate himself, was called up to reserves in the Special Forces, and he was deployed to the kibbutzim, where he witnessed firsthand the atrocities committed by Hamas terrorists. When he told me what he was seeing, I immediately understood that even if I wasn't in the studio, it was my mission to make sure that the world knew the truth of what had happened on that dark Saturday. It's also why I'm honored to be here at Ben-Gurion University. Like I said, the alma mater of my husband and the beautiful region hit hardest by Hamas's brutality. Ben-Gurion University is the beating heart of the Negev, where education, research, and community are leading the way forward. The October 7th Hamas terror attacks directly and disproportionately impacted the BGU community and the Negev. And now, Ben-Gurion University is fulfilling its mission to help this region begin to recover and to rebuild. The BGU community has risen to the occasion with immediate, significant, and vital contributions to Israel's recovery, truly demonstrating BGU's status as the anchor institution of the Negev and as a powerful engine for growth and innovation. In the days and weeks after October 7th, BGU provided grants to students serving in the reserves and financial assistance to employees and students living within 20 kilometers of Gaza to ensure their evacuation to safer locations. And through it all, the indomitable BGU spirit has endured. Today, we're going to speak with students and faculty from Ben-Gurion University who have harnessed their skills to innovate for Israel and the Negev in its time of need. Tapping into the endless opportunities available to them here on campus, they've designed much-needed gear for medics on the front lines, they've established free community clinics for soldiers and displaced families, and much more. Welcome to Remarkable Resilience, leading the way forward. First, I'd like to introduce you to 2 of the people who have been instrumental in ensuring this engine for growth just keeps on turning and keeps leading the way forward. Doug Sesserman is the CEO of Americans for Ben-Gurion University. In 2023, he was named one of the Jerusalem Post's 50 most influential Jews, who called him a 21st century Zionist thought leader. He's joined by Gary DeBode, Americans for Ben-Gurion University's chairman of the board. Gary is an accomplished real estate executive and former naval nuclear submarine officer who became involved with A4BGU through the Zinn Fellows Leadership Program.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our 4th annual virtual event, Remarkable Resilience, Leading the Way Forward.
Some of you are already familiar with Americans for Ben-Gurion University, or A4BGU, as we're also known. Others may be learning about us for the very first time today. We, in essence, do 3 things. First, we raise awareness for Ben-Gurion University of the Negev. Second, we raise financial resources, with 60% of the historical philanthropy to the university coming from the United States. And third, we run programs, like our signature Zinn Fellows Leadership Program. that engages and immerses the next generation in our work. Thank you all for joining us today.
David Ben-Gurion, Israel's founder and first prime minister, and the namesake of our remarkable university, believed that the future of Israel would emerge from the Negev. A4BGU works in partnership with Ben-Gurion University to help fulfill his vision, which is more important today than ever before, especially after the atrocities of October 7th.
For the Ben-Gurion University community, life unfortunately will never be the same. Because of the proximity of BGU's main campus in Beersheba to Gaza, the university community was directly and disproportionately impacted. As part of today's program, we're proud to announce Way Forward, BGU's $1 billion global campaign for the future. It is the largest and most ambitious campaign in our history. In the aftermath of October 7th, we see Way Forward as a triple entendre. It will not only be the way forward for BGU, but also for the Negev, and ultimately the way forward for Israel, as we recover and rebuild for the future.
In just a moment, Natasha will be speaking with some of the remarkable BGU researchers, students, professors, and others who power this engine. Despite the haze of fear and pain that overtook us all in the days and weeks after October 7th, these brilliant individuals came together to serve as a beacon of light for the nation of Israel and the world. Before we begin, I'd like to thank our generous sponsors and community partners who have joined us in our movement. Partners in the remarkable, we are so grateful for your help in making this event and our work possible.
Thank you, Gary. Now let's turn it back over to Natasha for the rest of the show.
Thanks, Doug and Gary. Now, for an in-depth look at what's happening at BGU, I'd like to introduce you to someone who's been at the center of the university's recovery efforts. Professor Danny Shemovitz is the president of BGU, and since 2019, he's led the university through a series of challenges: a startling rise in anti-Semitism around the world, a global pandemic, and now Hamas's devastating terror attacks. Danny, thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Natasha. It's great to be with you.
We've, spoken about a lot of different tough times that the university has weathered through. Tell us how BGU was impacted by the events of October 7th.
Well, October 7th hit all of us as this massive surprise. We all woke up at 6:30 to the sirens. But you need to remember that Gaza is only 20 miles from this office. Immediately as the attacks were unfolding, things started to unfold here at the greater Ben-Gurion University area as the first casualties started to come in to Soroka Hospital, and our staff and students descended on the hospital as volunteers. Already at 9 in the morning, we had our first emergency meeting of the university to try to understand how we were going to be responding, how the bomb shelters in the dormitories were open. And very quickly, it became clear that this was a whole different scale of tragedy that we had never dealt with. Already on Saturday, we knew of people who had been murdered within the university community. And the next morning, on Sunday morning, we had to come up with something that no university president should have to do. We had to come up with a mourning protocol. On October 7th, 75 members of the Ben-Gurion University community were murdered. And since then, throughout the war, that number's reached 111. We had 8 people kidnapped on October 7th. Still this day, Noah Argamani, that beautiful student who had her hands held out screaming, "Please don't murder me, please don't kill me." She's a third-year engineering computer science student. She's held hostage in Gaza as we're being interviewed. And so we had to learn how to function as a university in this completely heinous, awful new reality.
Beyond just having so many people impacted by the tragedies and the assaults that Hamas inflicted upon southern Israel, the university has also been doing a lot of very important work to now help the country recover as a whole, right?
This recovery effort started already on that first day. 500 of our students descended on Soroka Hospital as volunteers. These weren't only medical students, these were psychology students, emergency medicine students, social workers who were dealing with the thousands of individuals, families who were trying in a panic to find their loved ones, to find out if they were injured, murdered, lost, whatever. And in our, both here at Ben-Gurion University at the Marcus campus, and again in our Eilat campus, we had schools for the displaced kibbutznikim from all around. Those children still had to go to schools. And so we gave our campuses as a place for this to happen.
What does resilience look like for Ben-Gurion University today?
Resilience for Ben-Gurion University today means that the university is working at the same time with the complete knowledge that we have 134 captives, that we have so many students in reserves, that we have soldiers fighting 20 miles away in Gaza, but all the classes are going on, student life is going on. It's the reservists who are demanding that parties still be going on campus. That resilience is our perseverance, is getting through what's going on, getting through this awful time. Resilience is that we're looking in ways of how can Ben-Gurion University, how should Ben-Gurion University be involved in rebuilding the Western Negev. If we look at our Chusidman Youth Science Center, how can we be involved with the youth of Sderot, of Ofakim, of Netivot? Maybe we should buy a bus and drive around rather than having them come to us. We're looking at being involved in every single aspect of rebuilding the Negev.
Well, we're going to continue to discover the ways in which Ben-Gurion University has not only impacted the lives of Israelis around the country, but will most likely change the lives of people around the world as a result of the incredible accomplishments and research and development that's been made during this time. And stick with us because we're about to go meet some of the incredible Ben-Gurion faculty and students who are changing lives on a daily basis. This is what you call building trust. Right now, we are at the Field Medical Simulation Center at Ben-Gurion University with Dr. Oren Wach. This is what he does on a daily basis, is he prepares the next generation of young emergency medical personnel, paramedics who go out and save lives on a daily basis in emergency situations. And tell us what these students are doing today.
So these are our first year students, actually started their studies just a few months ago. And one of the basic skills we want any paramedic or medic to know is how to find an IV line. And of course, nobody is born with these skills, right? So first they do it on models, but then they do it on each other. And I think it's important that they feel what the patient feels also. And also there's nothing like the real thing. So they do it on each other a few times, and then in a few months they'll start doing it on real patients.
For those who don't realize, many of the students from this university were some of the first to go down to the site of the Hamas massacres on October 7th. They are the individuals who are on a daily basis saving lives in emergency situations. And as the war goes on, a lot of these people are also serving in the military and have gone back and forth just like yourself. So really, really fascinating work happening here, and we're going to be learning a lot more about it. Having had firsthand experience as a paramedic in the field on October 7th and in the days following, what did you realize was lacking in the field, and how did you end up getting into contact with Galit here at Ben-Gurion University?
I had a real-world problem where in the military, paramedics and physicians, the drugs that we use, we put in our pocket. And these are in glass ampoules. And they tend to break. And when they break, it's a very bad thing. And when I talked to Galit and I tried to understand what she can do 3D printing, I asked her, can we try and build something to guard the ampoules that I have in my pocket? And Galit knows all the materials, and she's a great engineer. She understands exactly what materials she can use and how she can print it and so on. And we started when I was a few days holiday at home. We met and we started thinking about how to design some kind of device that would help us guard the ampoules. And this is how it developed. We got some great opportunity for funding from the university and very generous donors. And we did the pilot, and We gave some in the field. I've used one for a few days, and we did a few versions and improved and improved and improved, eventually until we had the final product. And when we contacted the IDF and we showed them the product, they said, amazing, we want this. And we told them, okay, but we want to give it to you. We don't want you to buy it. We're going to make sure that every paramedic and physician in Israel and the IDF gets this product. And with the support of the university, we managed to get the funds. By the way, it's a fireproof and it's a shock absorbing, and I've used it in the field with real critical patients, so I can say it works, And now we've started printing them, in hundreds, and every paramedic and physician in the IDF is going to get one.
And this is a product that could be used all over the world.
Yeah, definitely. A few of my friends in the US, I showed it to them and they said, you have to send me a few, so I sent them a few. And we are now working on other applications because the same technology can be used in other places, in hospitals and in ambulances. And we are working on a few research projects and to see how we can actually improve it. But this product specifically is made for an IDF soldier that needs the ampules close by in their pocket. So it's specifically made for this case use.
Today we're sitting in a very special lab in Ben-Gurion University with Dr. Galit Kataribas-Levi, who has been doing groundbreaking work to help medics and doctors on the battlefield since the war, which began on October 7th. Galit, thank you so much for having us today. Tell us a little bit about the work that you've been doing.
I'm a senior lecturer at the Department of Biomedical Engineering, and I'm also the head of the Biomaterial and 3D Printing Laboratory.
Tell us where we are right now. Where are we sitting?
We're sitting in my lab with all the biological equipment and all the 3D printers. And here what we are doing is we are developing new materials for biomedical applications. And we are interested in using additive manufacturing technologies to do that in order to do patient-specific implants and patient-specific medical devices.
You're very much practically changing the lives of patients on a day-to-day basis, right?
Yes. So instead of using off-the-shelf implants, which not always fit the patients, but this is what they have, we actually designing the implants to be according to the size and the shape of the patients. So that will give him a much better recovery and will improve the quality of life.
I want to know basically how this has changed the trajectory of the career that you want to have in the future.
I would really want to find a job that, of course, has something to do with the 3D printing and the medicine. I want my work to have an impact on people's lives and change it for the better. Ben-Gurion University has provided various resources and facilities and cooperations that allows that to happen.
When the war started, there started to come lots of requests for us to help out in different ways, to print all kinds of different stuff, or to help out in different projects. And I devoted for a few months all of my energy towards the war effort. And it was really a privilege for me to kind of see all of the different things that I could do to help out everyone, especially talking to the doctors at Soroka, seeing the kind of things that I can help them out, and that really I'm the only one who can help them out because I'm here. Everyone is either at the army or they don't have my specific specializations. It was really an exciting time for me because I got the feeling that I could kind of join in the effort and be a part of this kind of a bigger thing. I could use the kind of skills and the kinds of connections that I made here to make a real change that I believe help people to save lives.
On October 7, Ofakim woke up to extremely and frequently sound of sirens. At 6:27, two Toyota trucks came with 22 terrorists parked in the main street and start entering the Goren Street. The Goren Street is a street with houses without any inter-safe room. People need to go outside to what we call migunio, to the outside safe rooms that we have. And when they saw people running to the shelters, to these outside shelter, miguniot, they start shooting at them.
Correct.
20 people already been killed by the terrorists while they arrived to this street. But in this street, they started to face people that went outside from their home with pistols to protect the city. My baby brother heard the gunshots. When he heard the gunshots, he took his pistol, he went out of his house. Although his wife screamed, "Don't leave me alone," he told her, "Go inside the mamad, the inside shelter room, close the door," and he started running the streets, screaming at people and shouting, "Go inside the house, there is a terrorist attack on Ofakim, go inside the house." And he managed to tell a lot of residents of Ofakim, of this street, to go inside. The last one that he told her to go inside was Rachel and her late husband David. Rachel was on her way because she don't have any safe room inside. She was on her way to the Migunit. And Ronnie managed to tell her, "Go inside, take David and go inside, close the door." Unfortunately, already terrorists came from the other roofs and entered the home. Ronnie was standing here, and after he entered Rachel, he thought that he saw people coming from the roundabout with wearing uniforms, IDF uniform. He thought that they were soldiers. He waved to them, and unfortunately, they shot him and killed him here, exactly on this spot. To show you and to understand the heroism of policemen on that day, from Roni Station, 4 people died. 4 people that were not supposed to be the front line of Israel, and they were the front line. The police lost that day 62 people. 62 people in one day. 62 policemen died in one day.
So tell us about the clinic here in Ofakim. Who runs it and who did it serve before the war began on October 7th?
Before October 7th, this clinic here was really a parent-child center for parents who wanted to bring their kids here, have them evaluated, developmental issues, family issues with sleep, with behavioral things, general parenting practices. And about 2 weeks after the 7th, we came in toto. Most of our psychologists, our staff in the clinic, we came here on a regular basis, once a week, and kind of transformed this center with the help of Michal, who's the director, into a sort of makeshift resiliency center. We were in a unique position to be there immediately after the events of the 7th because we had a clinic that was already established, and because we had such a tight team that had worked together and people who were so willing to pick up the gauntlet. We were already down at the hotels in Eilat within 36 hours.
What has your experience been like working with patients here in Ofakim?
Meeting patients and people here in Ofakim who experienced October 7th from the closest that it could be, it was, first of all, difficult. It was difficult to be in a state of war. It's still coming every week and helping people who've experienced what they had. At the same time, it was very strengthening. It was very empowering to see that you can do anything in that difficult state, and you see people that need help and they want you to come and they want to keep coming for the next week and next week. And it made me want to do it more, and it gave me a drive to try and do something in this very conflicting reality.
When you go through something so difficult like what you dealt with, your entire family being evacuated from a terrorist infiltration of the community that you grew up with, you're dealing with a lot of trauma and stress after that. And part of the healing is also being able to do something that can help everybody else who's also going through what you went through, right? So how do you think that your work, here has helped you kind of recover, and why is it so important to you?
I think it's a lot easier to deal with somebody else instead of helping you and to understand what you've been through. So in the beginning of the war, I just started to volunteer and to talk with people and to see who is more in distress and to give them emotional support and to be there for all the people who need. My community, everybody was in the same hotel, so it was easier for me to get access to them and just be there for others. And only now I start to realize what I have been through. So it's a lot, it's more easy to help others and to always be on the move because the trauma is ongoing. So we can't really stop and realize what happened and feel about it because it's still on.
I'm here with Dr. Talia Schwartz-Tayari, who's created a groundbreaking app to consolidate resources for Israelis who have been displaced from communities across the country since October 7th. Doctor, tell us how you came up with this idea.
On the 7th of October, we recognized two huge problems in the crisis situation that we encountered. The first huge problem was that there were many evacuees evacuated in trucks from the kibbutzim and from the settlements in the Gaza envelope. And we discovered that most of the local authorities actually did not know until this day where the residents of their local authority are. So they did not know where to provide them with psychological first aid. They did not know where to provide them with trauma interventions. And the second problem was that myself and other many social workers, psychologists, psychiatrists rushed to the evacuation centers, but our help and our interventions were not coordinated. So there were many first responders together with the local authorities that needed and had to provide immediate help to the evacuees across country. So what we created, actually in the third day of the war, I sat by myself and I wrote like an architecture of a system, of a 3-user system that is going to coordinate all the help for the evacuees with the local authorities and with the first responders.
So tell us about how Ben-Gurion University has supported you in making this dream turn into reality.
I think actually the seeds of the app and the seeds of all the technological innovations that we are creating in my lab, in the AI for Social Welfare Lab, is actually something that Ben-Gurion University have invested in and saw the potential from the very beginning of the lab, because there are not many labs in social work. And I was very fortunate to have the belief and the support from the Vice President for R&D, Professor Raz Jelinek, who invested in the app, and also, the President Office, and Jeff Kay, and Danny, of course, the President, who actually believed in using AI and using technology to enhance the resilience of the Negev, of the communities of the Negev. And it was only natural that we will step forward and provide, as Ben-Gurion University, to provide with this best technologies to help the settlements of the kibbutzim of the Gaza envelope.
I hope you enjoyed this special report from Ben-Gurion University of the Negev, where history has been made every day in the schools more than 50 years before October 7th and every day since. Thank you to the faculty and the students who shared their stories with us, and thank you to all of those watching around the world. From the heart of this region, Israel's founding father, David Ben-Gurion, saw a vision of a desert blooming with life. BGU has made that vision a reality, and it's been a hub of education, industry research, and community ever since. Now, the university has reached an inflection point. As you heard from Doug and Danny, with the war ongoing, government funding for the school hangs in the balance, and outside support from diaspora supporters is absolutely critical. With your help, Americans for Ben-Gurion University can fortify BGU's status as the anchor institution of the Negev and as a powerful engine for growth and innovation. That's where the Way Forward campaign comes in. The $1 billion fundraising campaign is the largest and the most ambitious of Americans for Ben-Gurion University's history. With generous support from around the world, you can help the university recover, solidify its role as an engine of growth and Southern Israel's anchor institution, and also secure Israel's future. Together, we are resilient. Together, we can build the remarkable. There are so many other ways to get involved with Americans for Ben-Gurion University and support even more powerful programs like this one. You can join local chapter events, attend virtual events, visit these gorgeous campuses, or reach out to A4BGU representatives in your community. For even more ways to get involved, head over to the website www.americansforbgu.org. On behalf of Americans for Ben-Gurion University, I'm Natasha Kirchak, reporting from Ben-Gurion University's Beersheba campus. Shalom and leitraot.
Hi, I'm Doug Sesserman, privileged to serve as the CEO of Americans for Ben-Gurion University, and thank you so much for joining us for today's program. The first part of the program was pre-recorded, and now we're switching gears to the live portion for the last 20 minutes of this hour-long program. In fact, we're streaming live from my office in New York City for a discussion with two remarkable BGU students, Shaked Shushan and Alon Jacobs, who are both joining us live tonight from Israel. But first, thank you all for joining us. We had 2,004 people register for this program, which is a new record. 54% of you brand new, which means that over 1,000 of you are hearing about us for the very first time. I also want to thank all the sponsors and our 68 community partners. I also want to recognize the vital partnership between the team of volunteers and my professional staff who work so hard behind the scenes to make programs like this a success. Special recognition to our event co-chairs, Marcy Dollinger and Seth Harlem, our professional staff champion, Maya Spector, and our incredible events team led by Lenore Levine, the remarkable Liz Kirshner, and our Zoom expert, Denise Lahat. And of course, our stellar marketing team led by Tali Goldshev. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, during this part of the program, if you have questions, just click on the Q&A function, and I'll do my best to feed these questions to our panelists. Now let's get started. We are honored to have IDF reservist and BGU second-year medical student, Shaked Shushan. She was called to action on the morning of October 7th. Shaked is a major in the IDF reserves and was deployed in both Gaza and the North, serving as the only woman in her battalion. For 5 months, Shaked treated the wounded, many of whom who were her friends. Shaked was chosen to be part of BGU's Yazamut 360 Leaders Program for entrepreneurial leadership. Born in the north of Israel, she now calls the Negev her home and has committed 7 years of medical service in the region as a member of the Ilanot program sponsored by the Ministry of Health and BGU. She continues to work as a medic in Magen David Adom and joins us to share her story. We also have Alon Jacobs joining us. He's a 25-year-old Hod HaSharon resident in his second year of studying industrial engineering and management at BGU. Alon served in the IDF Special Forces EGOS unit for 3 years between 2016 and 19, and he served in the reserves ever since. He was called up for active duty on the morning of October 7th and spent several days helping to secure the kibbutzim that were so heinously attacked by Hamas. Alon subsequently completed 5 deployments in Gaza before sustaining injuries. But despite the challenges, He has resumed his studies at Ben-Gurion University. Welcome to Shaked and Alon. Shaked, I think we'll start with you. So just tell us a little bit, Shaked, about the morning of October 7th. Where were you and how did you find out what was happening?
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. In October 6th, I just came back from a trip of Vietnam to celebrate Sukkot holiday at home with my family. In the morning, I received a call from the reserve unit, arrived immediately. In my innocence, I packed 5 pairs of socks, not knowing that I would be leaving home for over 4 months. And that was my challenge. In the first few weeks, we were in the area of Kibbutzim, in Erez, Be'eri, and Nativ HaShayara. And after that, after 1 month, we came into Gaza for 3 months.
Alon, why don't you tell us a little bit about where you were on October 7th?
Okay, so first of all, thank you for inviting me and letting me share my experience here. At the 7th of October, we were called at 10:30 a.m. in the morning to come to the base as quick as possible and join down south. We arrived there around 8 p.m. Straight away, we got a mission to scan a forest outside the Kibbutz Saad. We were told we don't know what to expect. It was nearby the Nova Festival, so maybe we would see missing Israelis, dead or alive. After that, we got a mission there was an intel that a group of terrorists are going to attack the kibbutz from a certain direction. So we set up an ambush for them. The entire night they didn't arrive. In the morning after that, we got not such much a simple mission. We were told not everyone has to participate. The mission was to move the soldier bodies from the military base Nahal Oz. I didn't hesitate for a second. I understood the importance of the mission, even though the sites I'm going to see. We were told beforehand that the base was reoccupied by a different unit. But when we arrived there, we suddenly encountered terrorists and started a gun battle. After a few moments, a tank arrived as well. After a few moments, that part ended without casualties to our forces. And then we understood that the base wasn't cleared of terrorists, so we needed to clear it from the beginning. At that moment, we just saw a horror movie in front of our eyes. Bodies everywhere, part of bodies, burnt bodies. It was pretty difficult. At the end, we moved 49 dead soldiers' bodies back, and shortly after that, we got another mission, a kibbutz nearby, and encountered another terrorist group in the fields. From here to there, 4 or 5 days of these kinds of things. And then we were told to go back and train, and in the future, we're going to go into the Gaza Strip.
Wow. Thank you for your service, obviously. Shaked, it's mentioned, that you helped with some of your friends who are actually hurt and injured. This whole situation's been so completely traumatizing. Can you just share with us how you've dealt with the work that you did for so long?
Yeah, sure. I think I'm a paramedic in Magen David Adom, and I used to take care of the wounded and the injury, but now is a different situation. The wounded soldier, that's my friends. and friends that I eat with them, sleep with them, and they're my second family for these 5 months. And this was a emotional experience, being a medical staff member. The decision I made on the battlefield accompanied me in my thought every day and made it difficult for me, especially to return to a routine. But the faculty of health science managed to mobilize a special track that allows me to succeed and bring the gap and talk with some treatment people. I remind myself that my study and my routine are intended to serve greater purpose in the future. And my dream is to become a doctor and can help more people. And that's what keeps me on this routine.
Amazing. As you both return to school, tell us about what psychological support, et cetera, you're getting either from the Army and also for the university. Many of the people watching supported what we called Negev Prevails. It was an emergency effort to help the BGU community. So help us to understand what support you've received and what that's meant to you, and how you return. There's nothing normal about where we are right now, right? So how are you trying to return to your studies in the midst of a war that's still ongoing?
You want to start, Shaked? I'll start.
You can start.
So after a few rounds in Gaza, I got injured, and since then I'm in recovery in hydrotherapy and physiotherapy twice a week. Have multiple back injuries and split discs, and I'm suffering from post-trauma from all the events. And the university was really caring and helpful and trying to help me come back to a regular student life. And also the Army helps me, and I see also a psychologist once a week that helps me with the post-trauma that reflects nightmares. And the university assigned me a social worker that helps me when I'm in need. I'm really thankful for the university to understand the situation, because I got injured in the back, so I can't really sit long periods of times. And so they offered me alternative oral exams because I can't sit long periods. And they gave me mentors to each course that will help me study the materials. And they record all the lessons, because I usually don't come to classes, all because it overlaps with my recovery treatments, or I just can't sit that period of time, so I prefer watching it at home recorded. I'm just really, really grateful.
How about you, Shaked?
I also, the university supply me professional psychology treatment. Actually, me and Ben-Gurion have a long story. I make it short, but my acquaintance with Ben-Gurion University began back in 2050 when I established my Army paramedic course. The training is conducted using the advanced equipment donated to the university in the medical center stimulation that you noticed in the video. Additional, my sister is also studied in the Ben-Gurion University, and when I was in the Army, I was established that all my soldiers come to Ben-Gurion and take this advanced stimulation, medical stimulation. So I have a long recognition with Ben-Gurion, and I really love this university. And she was a very, very listening earring for me and support me in that confused situation and help me in the exams and the holidays.
Let's talk a little bit about what BGU means to you. So Alon, you're from outside of Tel Aviv. Shaked, you're from the north. You both chose to study in the Negev. So tell us a little bit why you made that decision to go to Ben-Gurion.
Okay. Ben-Gurion has a special, unique syllabus for doctors. She really emphasized the empathic of the doctors, and there is something unique in the medical school in Israel that is unique for Ben-Gurion University, and that was the reason that I really want to go to University of Ben-Gurion. She helped me remember when I was in Gaza in a difficult and life-threatening situation. I insist on my being this human paramedic who will do anything for a casualty, because that my BGU medical teacher teach me. And Ben-Gurion has a really significant role in my life. During I was a paramedic in IDF, and now and in my family, my sister, my mother, they also take part in Ben-Gurion University.
Excellent. And how about you, Alon? You're from Tel Aviv. How did you end up in the Negev?
I have friends who study here 2 years above me, and straight away when I told them I'm planning on studying in the future, they said they told me you have to come to BGU. It's a different place. There's lots of students. It's a great environment. And I just I knew from the start I didn't try to get accepted to other universities either. I knew I'm doing the psychometry test and I'm going straight to BGU.
Excellent. I think we've become actually the most popular university in Israel. We have the highest conversion of acceptance to registration. And now we know why, because we have such great students like the two of you. Tell us a little bit about what you want from your future. Shaked, you started talking about being a doctor, and we have a great medical school, the Goldman Medical School. And as you mentioned, we teach how to treat the patient first and then the problem. But tell us what kind of doctor you want to be and where you see your career going.
I want to be a gynecologist. I want to be an empathic doctor, first of all. I want to be a human for human. That's the reason that I chose to learn medicine. And now I'm continuing my academic study. I have quite few years of study ahead of me. I'm only in the second year. At the same time, I continue to participate in the leadership program, in the program with the startup. Later on,
let's talk. I don't mean to interrupt you, but let's talk a little bit about that, because you're part of BGU's Yazamut program, the leaders program. Yazamut in Hebrew stands for entrepreneurship. And BGU was once again ranked as one of the top 50 universities in the world for entrepreneurship. You don't study entrepreneurship as a major there, but it's infused almost in the DNA. So explain for a minute about the leaders program.
The Leader Innovative and Special program is an annual program that teaches you how to start a startup with the help of mentor and lecture from the field. We meet with people from the industry, receive guidance from mentors, and together we establish a startup with the support of experts. My team and I just working on a project of a green energy field about the electrical vehicle industry. That's what I can tell about the startup right now. But it's a very unique program that actually gave us innovative support, and it's like a syllabus that is not only a medical. There is another innovative purpose of my study, and I really like it.
Thank you. Alon, so you were in a special forces unit and were injured. You're now back to your studies. Tell us a little bit about your future. What are you hoping to do from a career standpoint?
I think it's a bit difficult to predict what I'll do in the future due to all the situation. But I do believe sometime I'll look for relocation. I really want to experience that. But for now, I'm probably will just look for a job in my field and continue from there. I believe everything at the end will end up fine.
Are you in touch with your buddies who are still serving?
Absolutely. next week we actually gathering all together and doing like a team evening with all the girlfriends. So we occasionally do it. So it's actually I'm looking forward for that.
That's
We are
very
too next week.
Okay, so we're starting to run out of time. I'm going to just look through the questions to maybe ask you a couple more, but why don't we offer some closing comments? I know, Alon, you had a message for the hostages you wanted to share.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I don't know who's watching this at home, but the war in Israel hasn't ended. And I just want to remind you there's still 132 hostages in the hands of Hamas. And if there's anything you can do to bring them back home, please do.
Thank you very much. Shaked, did you want to offer some closing remarks? And then I've got a couple of questions that I'll ask, but go ahead.
Yeah, I just showed that someone asked me about being a female in Gaza. I think the biggest challenge for a woman in Gaza is the issue of privacy. I was not alone for a moment. I ate with the guys, slept with them, shared my most difficult moments with them. I didn't shower for 2 months. I'm sure that the girl in the audience here will understand how difficult that is. But one night, a colleague of mine, a soldier, we have a conversation, and he told me he's fighting and being here. It feels when I'm being here with him, it fills him with strange, and doesn't give him the right to complain. So I had the privilege to take an active part as a woman, as a paramedic, make a change, and show that women have many advantages, even in the battlefield.
Thank you. I did want to ask you one question that's coming in from the Q&A about what's happening in the United States across college campuses. And what's it like to be two students at BGU who are proud of their country and have served, to see the growing anti-Semitism, pro-Hamas demonstrations and encampments? Maybe some of you have friends that are involved that go to school at some of these universities. Just give us a sense for what it's like to be a student at BGU, understanding what's happening around the world.
Start together, I'll go.
You can go.
You can go.
I think it's a shame what's happening now in the United States. I think it's terrible, and how horrible it sounds. I think it's a start of a horrible future for the United States. I hope it will change. That's my entire thought about it.
How about you, Shaked? Thank you for your candor, Alon.
Thank you. I actually have a friend that is in a switch program in the US, in the Columbia University. I agree with Alon, that is a shame. It's really, really make me conscious and wonder about the future for us. I have also a dream to go to a fellowship in the USA. And now I wonder if it will be possible for me in the few more years. There is need for a significant act for that to change.
Okay, thank you. We're going to try to wrap up now just because we're out of time, but we're leaving the audience wanting more, and especially wanting more of the two of you. Thank you so much for your incredible service to your country, and just for being such a great example of the inspiring students we have at BGU. I want to thank our event committee, all our sponsors and community partners, and thank all of you for registering for this event and joining us. Special thank you to Shaked and Alon for being here with us live from Israel. I also want to thank the BGU faculty members who participated in the program and showcased their amazing science. Toda Rabbah also to our event host, Natasha Kirchik, chair of our board, Gary Devoti, and of course, BGU president, Professor Daniel Shamovitz, for his leadership and support of the diaspora in trying to do whatever we can to help. clearly you are have not only shown remarkable resilience, but BGU is truly the way forward. On the evening of September 22nd, 2024, we are going to be hosting an event in New York City to kick off our annual meeting September 22nd to the 24th. There will be an event honoring our outgoing board chair, Gary DeBote, for his 4 years of service, with a special evening that will feature a musical performance you won't want to miss. So stay tuned for more information. We also got some questions about the Way Forward campaign and where that $1 billion is going to come from. The vast majority of it's going to come from individuals who want to help, our current supporters and hopefully new supporters to the university, $1 at a time. We've actually raised already somewhere in the neighborhood of $380 million toward that $1 billion goal, and 600 million of that needs to come from the United States. So we've got a lot of work to do, but we're confident with all of you that we can get there. You can click on this, take a picture of the QR code and click on the information to see how you can both get involved with us and also contribute to the campaign to the degree to which you are capable. I just want to close with this comment, a quote from David Ben-Gurion, who said long ago that in Israel, in order to be a realist, you have to believe in miracles. Today, sometimes it can be very tough to believe in miracles. But what I do know is that we have the power to make our own miracles. And personally, I believe in the students, the faculty, and the administration of Ben-Gurion University of the Negev. I also believe in all of you. Together, we can truly be partners in the remarkable. Thank you for joining us, and stay safe, everyone.